Given its sheer size, the Honda Goldwing isn't the fastest motorcycle I've ever ridden, nor the sharpest handling, nor the most practical for all the town riding that I do, but what it is pure comfort on two wheels. So much so that I've come to the conclusion that it has to be the most luxurious ride currently available on the motorcycle market, and here's why. But before we get started, if you're new here and you want to see more of the latest motorcycle news, reviews and vlogs from me, then please do remember to hit subscribe. Let's get the most obvious luxury out of the way, the tech. It's a well-worn cliche to compare the Goldwing to a car, but when you look at all the features and gadgets, you can see why it's absolutely dripping in it. Cold weather comfort comes in the form of 5-level heated grips, a 5-level heated seat, and a 5-level heated seat for the passenger too, with their own dedicated control. Also keeping you warm is an electronically adjustable screen. There's also a 4-speaker audio system, 2 in the fairing and 2 in the passenger seat, and you can either play music from your phone or from the FM radio. A minor gripe is that FM radio doesn't really cut it anymore when you're used to DAB, but to be honest, I mostly played music from my phone when I had this bike. Entertainment is administered through a 7-inch full-color TFT display, which also houses Honda's own navigation system, as well as the motorcycle settings. It supports voice control and Bluetooth connectivity with headsets or a phone. Or you can plug your phone into the USB socket in the top box and it'll enable Apple CarPlay, providing you have a Bluetooth headset connected. Personally, I'm a big fan of CarPlay as it means you can use your favorite navigation app as opposed to the built-in system, as well as WhatsApp, podcasts and Spotify to name but a few. But Google users will be disappointed that Android Auto isn't included. There are also some analog clocks for speed and revs, as well as some LCD displays at either edge of the dash. One feature I particularly liked was the warning displayed when luggage has been left open or the side stand is down. Luggage, like the rest of the bike, is keyless with electronic latches and a really nice, smooth, soft opening mechanism. Although capacity is down on the last generation and some owners have had trouble getting 2 helmets of certain brands in the top box, I found it ample for my needs and loved the convenience of it automatically locking when you walk away from the bike. Even the steering lock is keyless. You turn the ignition off with the knob on the dash and then give it an extra turn to enable the electronic steering lock. But what else have we got? Cruise control, of course, where you're able to nudge the speed up and down from the switchgear. Honda's torque control, which is their name for traction control, is also present and switchable. The 1.8 litre flat 6 engine is surprisingly punchy and torquey, and the DCT gearbox can occasionally drop down a gear to gain some momentum when you give the throttle a decent turn. So some good traction control is a nice safety net to have on hand. ABS is also present with some pretty huge 6-pot calipers up front to haul its massive 380 kilogram weight to a stop. The Goldwing actually uses Honda's combined ABS system, which distributes braking force between the front and rear brakes, regardless of whether you use the front brake lever or the rear brake pedal, in order to achieve maximum safe stopping power. This system also ties into the riding modes, of which there are 4. There's Tour, Sport, Rain and Econ. Each of these modes varies the throttle response, braking feel, torque control, suspension damping and the response of the DCT. Tour is a happy medium, Sport revs up a bit more and firms up the ride, Rain offers a gentler ride for more challenging weather conditions, and Econ gives the best fuel economy. Preload can also be electronically adjusted with 4 modes available through the dash. There's 1 for rider only, rider and luggage, 2 up and 2 up with luggage. Preload on both the front and rear suspension is adjusted accordingly to achieve an appropriate ride height. The front suspension uses a double wishbone, which Honda says allowed them to move the rider forward. The wishbone design means that the front wheel moves vertically under compression, whereas a traditional fork moves the wheel up and back, meaning space must be allowed and therefore the rider is positioned further back. Putting the rider further forward means a smaller fairing can be used as it's closer to them, which in turn means a more aerodynamically efficient bike and a lighter weight too. Also saving weight is an integrated starter generator, which means there's no need for 2 separate units. The bike also starts up quickly, which means an idling stop system could be included, which, just like a car, switches the engine off when you're waiting in traffic, but fires straight back up again as soon as you twist the throttle. This saves on both fuel and noise. There's a hill hold system which keeps the brakes applied whilst you move off on an incline, which is a great feature for anyone riding this already heavy bike with a passenger and luggage. There's also a handbrake for parking on an incline, an airbag, storage compartment which houses the fuel cap button, and LED lighting all round with daytime running lights and self-cancelling indicators. It's a truly comfortable place to spend time on a motorway. I did a few long rides on this bike during the month that I had it, and they felt completely effortless with very little fatigue when you arrive at your destination. But I don't think I can put that entirely down to the gadgets and tech. For a start, there's the 1.8 litre flat 6 engine. It'll do 125 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 170 Nm of peak torque at 4,500 revs, which is plenty enough to get this big bike moving. Riding solo in sport mode in it can surprise you with just how well it goes, and it sounds pretty good too. It's a rare engine configuration on a motorcycle, only the Goldwing currently uses it, and it's not even that common in cars. Subaru use it in some models, but perhaps the best known proponent is Porsche. But the reason it makes so much sense in the Goldwing is that it's silky smooth. Honestly, it's just so smooth. In my research before getting the bike, some posts in owners forums say that it's not as smooth as previous models, but for most of us used to riding normal bikes, it's like riding on a road of cream. The only thing smoother in my mind is an electric motorcycle. The reason that it's so smooth is because flat 6 engines have perfect primary and secondary balance. With 3 cylinders on either side, they cancel out each other's imbalances. In addition, the firing interval on a flat 6 like this is 120 degrees, which means that the power strokes overlap, giving a smoother feel than even an inline 4. Another benefit of this design is that the engine is slung low. This means that despite a weight of 380 kilograms, the bike doesn't feel unmanageable both on the move and in low speed maneuvers. But this video is about why the Goldwing feels so luxurious, and this was a massive factor to me. Pure creamy smoothness right through the rev range. You could, however, argue that the Goldwing's main competitor, the BMW K1600, also has a perfectly balanced 6-cylinder engine, albeit in an inline configuration rather than a flat boxer. But what the K1600 doesn't have is this, Honda's not-so-secret weapon, dual-clutch transmission. DCT might just be the killer feature of this bike for me. It never really appealed to me before, but in the context of a big plush tourer, it makes sense. For the uninitiated, DCT essentially translates to an automatic gearbox. It uses 2 sets of gears and 2 clutches. One set has the odd gears, so 1, 3, 5 and 7 in this case, and the other set has 2, 4 and 6. This allows the bike to pre-select the next gear based on whether you're currently accelerating or decelerating, and then seamlessly transitions between the 2 sets of gears using the 2 clutches. The result is more smoothness on top of the already smooth engine. It feels luxurious in the same way you'd expect an automatic gearbox in a luxury car. Just twist and go and hear the flat 6 roar along, fluctuating between the gears. At low speeds it perhaps doesn't feel quite so refined. You have to ride it on the throttle alone because there's no clutch lever, of course, and in heavy traffic it can feel a bit clumsy, but that's not what this bike is about. It's for big miles at cruising speed, and for that it's perfect. Should you want to pick up the pace, there is a manual mode in which you can shift between the gears using the buttons on the left switch gear, and for doing precarious car park maneuvers there's a walking forward and reverse mode which feathers the clutch for you to keep the bike eking along at about 1 mile per hour. Both nice features, but my favourite thing about the DCT was just that linear, seamless, luxury car-like acceleration and the easiness of cruising around without ever thinking about what gear you're in. The Goldwing and the DCT are a harmonious duo indeed. So for the rider there are plenty of comforts, a big torquey smooth engine and a seamless easy transmission, but what about a passenger? Normally my wife would join me, but she was super pregnant while I had the bike, so I had to enlist my good friend Tim, and here's his take.
Because I haven't got much to sort of compare it to, I don't ride pillion very often for obvious reasons, it terrifies me. But even, no, you're riding, seriously, you're smooth as man, automatic gearbox. So everything in this is geared towards comfort, even to the degree that I would say that that is more comfortable than where I sit in my living room. It's just a sofa on wheels.
What about the heated seat?
Nice, not too bad actually. I didn't realise I could have changed the setting though. I wasn't privy to that information. I could have made that warmer. Yeah, really nice. The only thing I was saying is I'd probably take off these little armrests. They're fine, and I really was enjoying that, but I couldn't quite get both my hands on the handles, and obviously I didn't want to be so close to you. I know you well, but not that well. So I was trying to sort of back myself up and hold these, but you can't do it with these on, so I'd probably take them off myself, which I think you can do. I saw some Allen keys down there. But yeah, other than that, mate, as comfortable as I've ever been on a bike.
It's also nice, as the rider, not to have someone pressed into your back. That massive pillion seat works out for everybody. But was there anything I didn't like about the bike? Well, the self-cancelling indicators were a bit lazy from time to time. Sometimes that double wishbone suspension at the front bottoms out on stuff like potholes, and I do wish you could use the Apple CarPlay without pairing a Bluetooth headset to the bike. But those are pretty minor gripes. Overall, I absolutely loved riding this bike while I had it. Yes, 30 grand is a heck of a lot of money for a motorcycle, but honestly, I can now see why some riders would want a Goldwing for doing serious touring miles. It's comfortable, it's got power, it rides surprisingly well, and Tim liked it too. But what do you guys think? Have I got it wrong? Is there a better bike on the market for total luxury? Let me know in the comments if you think so. And again, if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.